Yo, what's up, man? We here for another episode of Fatherhood Fraternity podcast. Appreciate y'all been rocking with us, and if you're new to this, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to not even take too much more of your time. I'm DJ Duro, a.k.a. your favorite. I have with me
Jeremiah, live from the barbershop.
It's Rob Phillips, one of them Different Strokes boys.
Oh,
I got to get an introduction, man.
We are in Different Strokes Barbershop. What's the address?
This is 417 Agler Road, Gahanna, Ohio, 43210. 43230.
So if you're ever in Columbus, Ohio, Gahanna, wherever you need to be, just come through, say what's up to the fellas.
Come get fresh.
Is this where you need to be?
Exactly. So Rob was with us and brought us the question of the day, if not last show, the show before. Yeah. So we made sure that he came back through and gave us a good question this time. So what you got for us, Rob?
All right. So there is an image. So I just want to paint the picture, so to speak. So the image is 7 or 8 black men. It's on a train, public transit. So the 7 or 8 gentlemen look like they clearly just got off work. Half of them are in construction outfits. One dude sitting there asleep with his mouth open. Half of the rest of the dudes is asleep. So it's it looks like they're obviously tired and just getting off work. There is also a black woman who is standing. Now she looks like she just got done grocery shopping or something like that, and she's standing there while all these black men are seated. So the question is, do you see something wrong with this picture?
And we'll make sure we share this picture on our IG page because I want you to get the visual, because immediately hearing how it's described, of course there's an issue with it. Because if it's my mama in that picture, if it's my auntie, if it's my wife, I see 6 niggas sitting there and she's holding on to the pole while waiting for the next stop to get to the next exit, and y'all chilling, sleep or not, I'm gonna need you to, at least have some respect. Without having context, I need some respect towards her, where you all can at least scoot a little bit. If you don't want to get up, you guys, not man spread, as they say, where you sit with your legs all out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just give some space for my wife and my mother. Your thoughts?
And see, I love this because there's such a parallel with men and women's roles and responsibility in our community, right? So naturally, you see a bunch of brothers sitting down and a woman, no matter how old, you give your seat up to let that woman be comfortable, because we provide strength to our community, right? And that reminds me of a scenario that always happens in a barbershop. Let's say a brother comes in with his baby. He needs his haircut. The baby has to wait. Every single time that happens, a woman comes and cares for the baby. It never fails. There's always a mother in the crowd, and the mother will say, well, here, you get your haircut, I'll take the baby. Naturally, she's a nurturer.
Right.
That's the woman's role in our community. And so I feel like it's an unwritten law that all of us know. Brothers, y'all provide strength. Y'all provide backbone to this community. Women, y'all nurture and y'all provide and y'all care for this community. Women know it's an innate instinct. When you see a child, you already know to comfort the child. You break right into being a mother. Even if you're not a mother yourself, you know what to do. You know how to care for a child. It never fails in the barbershop. Just like out in the workforce, it never fails that a brother is going to have to hold the door for the woman, give his seat up for the woman, give his last so that the woman can go. You know what I mean? And we should step up for that, just like women should step up and nurture. So I love it because it shows the common unwritten law that we all live by. We all know. Give your seat up for that lady.
But in contrary to that, there's a lot of laws or unwritten laws that people are wanting to reverse. And you were speaking on the comments that you got when you posted it, or the original poster got. Mm-hmm. Tell them another perspective, the people who are listening, another perspective of what was brought up.
Okay. I had numerous ladies pretty much tear into me for trying to look at it from a different point of view. Well, what if...
Your mic on?
Should be.
right,
Not
cool.
getting no feedback.
I'm getting you. It's just pause. It's just a little bit low. You keep on.
You know, because I was bad.
Niggas with
I'm
this
trying
pause
to keep
thing.
going.
I'm
man.
trying.
I'm trying to keep it going.
I'm getting you.
Professional on air. Oh, I'm getting you. Pause.
I'm trying to keep a straight
I'm
face.
trying to have a
Me too.
professional
I'm
pause.
trying to keep going. But you know, because I basically tried to say, well, what if this was a situation?
Yeah.
Or look at it from this point of view. I had numerous ladies basically tell me I wasn't shit as a man if I wouldn't get up and give up my seat.
Right.
Then I also had numerous women say, well, I'm good with it for the simple fact they look like they just got off work. She looks like she just got done shopping.
They do look like they was like
You feel me?
super tired, like
So, and
for
I had
real.
numerous ladies tell me like, well, if that's the case, if that man's been working all day, providing for his family, by all means, sweetie, keep your seat. You know what I'm saying? Especially, hell, I might even get up and give you my seat, is what I had a few women tell me. Also had a few people tell me that regardless of age, what they've been doing for the day, whatever the case may be, if a woman walks in and you're sitting down as a man, regardless of what's going on, if you're able to stand, you should stand up and give that seat up to that woman.
Man.
So my whole thing was, part of me is very, very old school and rigid in my ways. Yes, the man should open all the doors, pull the seat out for the lady at the table. You know what I mean? Get up and give your seat up. But at the same time, I'm looking at it as in today's society, it's all about equality for women. You know what I mean? That's been a major push the last 10, 15 years.
Indeed.
So my thing is, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, treat me as an equal when it comes to pay, but don't treat me equally when it comes to seats or opening doors or things like that. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be.
I understand.
You know
I
what I'm
understand
saying?
the argument, but I'm gonna offer this. I'm gonna offer this because this is a perfect example for that picture. Say if you go into, let's say, a nice restaurant, they got an entrance door, and then they have another door to actually come into the restaurant. So there's two doors.
So we're talking about a very elegant atmosphere.
Elegant atmosphere. So you walk in and you open up the door for your wife, right? And then as soon as that door closes, there's another set of doors.
Okay.
Like when you go to Easton or something like that.
Like when you go to the bank, like I just
Anywhere like
okay.
that. Where there's two front doors. So let's say I got the front door and then your wife goes and then she goes to open the door. It would be foolish for you to hurry up and close the door and then go run to the front door. So I understand a woman is strong enough to open her own door. And that's what we get into.
Yes.
But I feel like it's and I don't want to say polite because that's not doing the word justice. But it's
chivalrous.
It's chivalrous
I think that-
for a man. And chivalry is that's an action that I'm showing you this action.
To me, I feel like it's less of an action and more a part of your character.
Like a deed, more or less. I'm doing you this deed. I'm doing you this service. As a man, you get provided all of this. You know what I mean? You get to eat first. You get all of these things.
I think that what you were saying is what I was thinking. Is that it's how we spoke last week about how we show our love.
Word.
That's our action of love and respect. Like, yo, you're a woman. You've done a lot. Maybe not today, but I know in life you have done a lot. Not even though you want to be equal, I'm doing this out of love. I know that you're strong enough to stay here and hold this pole, but out of my love and respect for you as a woman, and even put a little bit more of a caveat as a black woman, because there's a picture of black men and a black woman, and we feel a way about our moms or our aunties, even if they're not our moms or our aunties. If they look like they would be friends with our moms or can remind you of somebody in your family, you're going to do that just
Respectfully.
out of love.
All real brothers know.
Yep.
You take out some of that bass in your voice when you're speaking to the woman.
Yes, ma'am.
You are
Yes,
polite.
ma'am.
You
You
may
know
take
what
your
it
hat
is.
off. Yes, ma'am. That's when all of those things roll out. You may take your hat off.
Yep.
Because that's chivalry. That's really what it is.
Like, thank you, Miss Jackson.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even say about first name. Like, you can just call me Paula. Nah, you already. I got you,
All
Miss
right,
Jackson.
Because naturally, as men, we come across overbearing. We come across as bigger than we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to lessen yourself. Just like if you was talking to a child, you would get to eye level.
Right.
For a woman, you have to reduce yourself almost to be acceptable.
Watch yourself.
Maybe not reduce yourself. His brother's gonna go crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean. Maybe, and I don't want to say come down to her level because then women get offended.
Let me save you real quick. So
Yeah, that was right.
I got you. It was also brought up when I originally posted that picture on Facebook that it was black men. Like black men, we were attacked due to this picture because of previous situations that these black women have been through. I'm not gonna say, because I had one young lady damn near bite my head off because I said, "Who harmed you? Who hurt you?" Sweetie, who got you jaded? And she literally went in on me.
That was
so
deep.
I ended up, it was. And looking back at it, I did have to apologize to her right there on the post. But it was kind of shocking to me to have so many black women say black men ain't shit. This is something that I deal with all the time. This is no different than what I deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So it was very important for me to make sure that when I describe the picture, I make sure people know that it's black men that are sitting and a black woman that's standing.
Yeah.
Because for some reason that does make a difference. And like you said, I know how we feel about our moms and our daughters and our aunties and all of that. Had it have been my grandma standing there, first initial reaction would have been the same as yours. Man, somebody scoot over or get up and let my grandma sit down.
Right.
Man,
But after thinking about it, if this nigga been out here laying concrete for 12 hours and they been over here doing electrical work for 10 hours.
You gonna say grandma? You
in
can
the
say
sun,
that.
Grandma, listen.
absolutely
Take
not.
over the team, Brandy. And
Can't agree with that. Dog, if I had one leg, if I had one leg,
we'll be
bro.
here in 20 minutes. You feel me? Just relax for a second.
For
I
me,
mean, I don't know. I'm just.
I don't know. For me, looking at the picture,
What
I
up,
got-
Norm?
What up?
Hey,
Sorry,
shout out
everybody.
to Norm.
Hey,
Everybody,
sliding
corporate,
in.
Norman.
Corporate Norm. I had to take
Norman.
this business.
It's
Yeah.
Norman.
Yeah, that's
Mr.
Norman. That ain't
Norm Strick right now. I'm back. But
No,
yeah,
your middle name is Eugene?
nah,
Oh, shit.
nah.
Where you get that one
Because
from?
I thought it was
made that up.
Eugene.
No, he said it, but I don't remember. It's something.
Ashbury.
Ashbury. I told you it was
The tip
a.
of my
I told you it was a
My
very
initials
posh,
are Nas.
a very posh name.
Nas, N-A-S are the letters that
It was
spell.
either Ashbury or Ivory, one of the two.
Get out here. Back to the subject. The picture, from what I can see, there's no way as a man I'm allowing a woman, I don't care what color she is, to just stand with her groceries in her hand. I don't care if I work all day. I feel like a respect thing, because I would want somebody to do that, like you said, to your grandmother. I would want somebody to get up for my mom, my grandmother, anybody like that. I feel like, hey, just stand for a little bit longer. You know what I mean? You get home, you can rest as much as you can. But I can't see myself sitting while a woman is standing, holding her groceries. You know what I mean? She probably worked, I don't know if she worked all day. Who knows? Maybe she just got off from work and she had to go grocery shopping.
I like
You know
that
what I
you
mean?
said it doesn't matter what color she is.
Yeah, it
'Cause
does.
I don't
I'm glad
want to
he
make
said
this.
that.
I don't want to make this just like if it's a sister standing up.
Right.
But if it's any woman, any age,
It's a
I'm gonna
woman.
give my seat up.
Yeah.
I don't always agree with that because if I see somebody's actions that are very unfavorable, and I see that just because she's a woman, that she should feel like she should get this seat.
Okay.
But I just saw you cussing somebody out
Yeah.
right before you got on the train. Or you just are you on the phone talking crazy, or like these niggas, or say like these guys over here. They,
Right.
But that adds another dynamic. You would give your seat up for a lady. You're
Right.
not just gonna give your seat up for just any woman.
Yeah.
So maybe in this, we wasn't at the picture
Because it's just a
maybe
picture.
in this
It's just a
picture, this
picture.
lady was talking
Talking
crazy,
crazy.
or something.
She kind of got,
She
that
got a
look
little
on her
attitude
face.
look.
She got a little attitude.
Is it
look.
because she's a black woman?
Face.
Watch yourself.
Right, let me
Watch
She
yourself.
got the rest of the face.
Hey now,
for real.
hey now.
But this is a good one though. Like I want anybody that's listening, let us know: is there a wrong answer? Like, is there
Wait. Can I just give one more?
whatever you gotta say?
I think that a real man would give his last for a real lady.
Well, okay, now pause, because I had somebody say that, and by the end of our conversation, she came back and she apologized. So it makes you less of a real man because you don't give your seat up?
For a lady, yes. In my opinion, yes. Now, just
Okay.
any woman talking reckless and all of that, that's a different variable.
And I was
But
gonna
if
throw
it's
that
a
in there,
lady
too.
and you're a gentleman, that's
Let's-
your position.
Let
That's the
me
thing.
add one more
Yes,
thing to
yes.
this. Let me add one more thing
Add
to
the
this.
layer.
This is a little drama. What if you sitting next to your wife and there's a whole other bunch of dudes there, and you the one who hop up
Whoa!
next
That
to your
happened
wife?
to me.
That happened.
That happened to me.
Do you
Ain't that story?
And started a fight.
exactly?
Story, Jay.
Can I
Hear
talk
this
to y'all?
story.
Why? Because you was there. It was on my birthday. Listen, y'all. Ooh, I wish I could say the moon right now.
I love it. Yeah,
You would think I knew.
I wish I had the dooley do for my birthday. Listen, it's my birthday, right?
Hold on, paint the scene. Where you
Man,
at?
it's we at the Havana Club.
When's your birthday?
July the 3rd. Fireworks banging. It's popping.
I wanna say
Marlon Anthony Events and Culmination
Yep.
came together in conjunction to rock 2 clubs. They called it the Block Party.
Rock
The
the
whole
block.
strip. They was at the
Right.
Havana Club and they was at the Avalon.
Yep. We
So
was
it's 2
bouncing back
clubs
and
back and forth. Food
Man.
at one, music at the other. It was live.
Shout out to
you hear me?
Marlon.
Oh, yeah.
Columbus City
Shout
Nights.
out to Warren too.
Yeah.
Yo, so me and my wife sitting down. It's so hot because it's July. I get warm. I go outside. I'm cooling off. While I'm outside, a friend of mine comes in. I can't remember my friend's name. This is honest to God. I can't remember her name.
Ooh, this is where it starts to turn.
So look, I'm like, hey, listen, we all in there VIP. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk in there with you. First mistake.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I walk in there with the woman.
Because your wife is inside and
My
you
wife
both
is in
are
there
out.
chilling with the squad. We
Let me
all in
help
there.
paint the scene. It's me, wifey. It's our homeboy Doc and his friend.
Yep.
It's Lice and his girl.
Yep.
It's
Squad is deep. We in
Oh,
VIP.
squad is deep. It's probably 6 or 8 of us
On couches.
all coupled up.
Yeah.
All got one section.
That makes a difference.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference, right?
Yes.
Right.
Carry
Continue,
on.
right?
Yeah.
So now I walk in. She in. I walk in. And I introduce her to everybody. Hey, everybody, she's here, right? I can't remember her name, though. She goes and gets a plate. This is where it gets real, y'all. This is where the real detail comes in. Now she comes back with a plate of food. I want to say she was eating like barbecue or brisket beef or something.
She had brisket
Yeah.
and corn.
And like, yeah.
So
So
how do
she
you
had a
remember
plate.
that, Rob? How do you remember that?
I have no idea.
She had a plate and she's standing up. So I'm sitting down next to my wife, right? This is where it gets ugly.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm sitting next to
I
my
can
wife
imagine
and I
right
see
now.
the girl struggling with the brisket beef and the corn. You can't eat corn with a fork, but she's trying to make it happen.
But that's
So you
her.
just gonna-
That's her
So
struggle.
I say,
So you gonna conveniently leave the lead up out of that?
hold on, right?
Oh, yeah, you don't
So I
talk
say,
about
I
that,
say,
huh?
Rob
sweet,
knows too much.
I say, sweetheart, right? I say, baby girl, why don't you have my seat? And she says, thank you. And she sits next to my wife and slaps that brisket and does it all. But my wife, now that I'm standing up and my wife is sitting down next to this girl that she don't know, my wife catches a feeling, right? And so from there, I felt like I was doing the right thing. Let me give my seat up because this girl is trying to slam a brisket.
A whole brisket.
But
slam, right.
I sit her down next to my wife, and my wife took it as, "Oh, so you gonna give your seat up for this girl? I don't know her. You don't know her, all of this, right?" And I'm looking at it strictly like chivalry, like I'm a gentleman, and I see her. You know, she needs to sit down and get on this table. And so, like, I don't feel like I'm wrong, but Rob and them told me I was dead wrong.
Ooh,
They told me
wee.
I was
that
wrong.
was too overly chivalrous, whatever.
Is-
too overly nice.
Was I overly
friendly.
nice?
Yeah.
Be honest with me, dear.
Like, I can see both sides because out of instinct, we are people. You know what I'm saying? We know how to work the crowd because we work with the public. We know that our job depends on the public. As a DJ, I am friendly to the people that I know that could be potential clients.
And as an MC, so am I.
So, of course, let me welcome her into where the crew is because I ain't going to just say what up and dap out because that's just not my personality. So I'm going to just invite her to the crew and so it won't be some awkward later. So let me just bring her through, say what's up. And then, I see you. Come on, man. You can just sit here.
You know what? I asked my wife. I said, "So should I just still left her standing up?" She was like, "Yes."
Oh wow.
Yes.
Damn.
But different
Yo!
Different personalities.
different
though.
personalities bring different things, and that's where I can't say that she's wrong because I can, from a wife that I have
Yeah.
who isn't a public figure and doesn't need to have people be friendly around her, or me to be friendly in front of other women in front of her. It's not necessary. All that's not necessary.
I'm gonna tell you right now, my wife is not
Not
gonna be happy
having
with that. Yeah, she ain't having that. She is like, for real. I
Yeah.
feel her. I mean, but at the same time, I think not the mistake, but I would have said, "Hey, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. All right, yeah, I'm inside. I'll check you out later. Leave it at
I
that."
told you my first mistake.
Yeah.
I walked in with her.
Yeah,
That was
that was
it.
a big. Yeah, that was
I'll
a big
be
problem.
honest, being there and seeing the situation, do you mind if I speak on
Now let's go there, man. Let's
Rob gotta go.
let's take it.
me personally, guess he was being over chivalrous. If we're
Overly
using this.
chivalrous.
Overly chivalrous. No, that's double entendre.
No, it's not.
Overly chivalrous.
That's what I'm saying.
Just let's stick with something else. Let's just say he's being very nice.
Too nice.
Overly
Too
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Where he went wrong, that I feel like made his wife take it to that extent, was there was never a, hey, friend,
Formal introduction.
this is
my
my
wife.
wife.
Right.
Yes.
Wife,
Slap in the
this
face.
is friend.
That changes.
It was just a, hey, y'all, hey, Rob, you know him.
Because I
This
forgot.
homie.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, friend, this is all the homies. Let's go ahead and have a seat. Get
Oh,
your
so
plate,
I'm a
yada, yada.
homie.
Oh.
There was never
I didn't
no.
remember her name.
He didn't describe his wife as that. But what I'm saying
That would
is,
have been woohoo.
at the time, he really couldn't remember her name.
Okay.
We all know her name.
Yeah.
She's one of our local bartenders, one of our favorite bartenders. Shout
Oh,
out to you.
all right. Know what you're
But,
talking about.
Watch out, fellas.
But it was one of those things where it was like it was never.
Warren like,
okay.
Norm.
But no, it was one of those things where I feel like if he'd have just walked up, instead of being like, hey, everybody, just
Yeah.
going straight to wifey and be like, hey, wifey, this is,
Yeah.
friend, this is wifey, I don't think it would have been an issue.
I didn't introduce her. She didn't know. She
Introduce
didn't
her.
know what was going on. She seen me being nice
Exactly.
to a stranger.
Yep.
Which, if y'all don't mind, let's transition into another question, because we've also had a good friend have this same situation go on to where a lady of his was not happy with the situation because she was not introduced to all the other friends, which just so happened to be ladies that were in an event.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So some women are going to look at that as, no, I need to be introduced. Some women don't care, you know what I mean? As long as you're coming home with me, it don't matter. So
That ain't
You got to know your
if you're
woman,
out,
though.
that's
You
what I
got to
was
know
just
your
about to ask
woman.
you. Each one of y'all, if you're out at an event, group of people, you know everybody there, are you going to introduce wifey individually? Hey, wifey, this is such and such. Such and such, this is wifey. Or you just going to do a random...
If you stop
Random
to
greeting,
if you
hey,
stop to
y'all.
speak, you have to introduce your wife. If you just say what up in passing, then it's like, yo, what up?
You're
Two
absolutely right.
fingers.
girl.
But if you're
Okay.
stopping to speak and say hello a little bit longer than 2 or 3 seconds, yo, this is my wife. Even if it's just as you're walking out, say, like, this is my wife, Chantel, you know what I'm saying? This, blah, blah, blah. If you just pass, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't even remember who that is.
And you're absolutely right for the reason that what we're saying about giving up your seat on the bus. It's the proper thing to do for a gentleman, to do for a lady. So if you have a lady on your side and you're speaking, the lady doesn't have anything to do. And so to engage her in the conversation,
Yep.
you introduce her. That's why my wife felt slighted. That's why women feel slighted when they don't get properly introduced. They don't have anything to do. If you're really a gentleman,
Yep.
you know how to treat a lady, right? And talking, conversation, you're not just gonna keep her standing there by your
Yep.
side like a piece on
fifth
your
wheel.
arm.
Yep.
Yeah. Or have you met my wife? This is my
Exactly.
wife. So and so. This is so and so. Yeah, I've been knowing him since we go way back.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, baby, can you grab us something while we finish talking or whatever? And this is going to be
Be
A
careful
nice-
with that one. Baby, grab us some while you finish.
Started laughing.
man. I be losing. No,
Yeah, you gotta-
I'm too old school.
You know what it is,
Baby,
man.
grab
Yeah,
us.
just-
No.
no, don't do that
Fellas,
one.
don't.
Hey,
Don't do that.
Don't listen to
Hey,
me.
my
man.
wife will look at me like I'm
We've already-
crazy. Nigga,
Just
grab
figure it
what?
out.
Grab
I know
what?
my heart, girl. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, anyway, this is
hard.
my wife.
Yeah.
Shanice.
Yeah.
All right, baby, go grab us a couple beers and sit down somewhere.
Yeah, nah, nigga.
Great questions of the day. I hope that you are listening and seeing how
love you, Nikki.
different perspectives come through. Rob, thank you once again for
Appreciate that,
giving
Rob.
us
Anytime.
these great questions that really are thought provoking, and I hope that you all will allow us to get some of these answers. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram, Fatherhood Fraternity, so we can show you the picture and we can get your answers and all that great stuff. Man, those were good. Those were really good.
Rob at
So
the
keep
shop.
it
Yeah.
So make sure you come to Different Strokes. Get you a couple more questions of these like these. 'Cause
You got to.
these are real.
Oh, these are every day. Real life situations.
All right, so we're gonna get into our show. I figured that what we could talk about will be something that, with us being semi-new fathers and we having old school fathers and being around or having peers that are old school and new school, we could talk about the disadvantages and the advantages of being a father today compared to fathers before and after. Like, of course, social media is a big thing. and that has its advantages and disadvantages. But I want to hear from you all. All right, Rob. I want to hear from you all. Starting off with Norm, because I know you had to in and out in the conversation. So I want to let you get your words in. What are some of the disadvantages or advantages of being a father today compared to the old school fathers? Do you think we're at a better advantage?
I think we got a better advantage because we got to learn from our past, our fathers, our uncles, people that went through a lot of, I think, not as much structure. They went through a lot of heartache and a lot of hard times. Like, I feel like now it is difficult, but I feel like a lot of the anger and a lot of the, I don't know how to say it, but a lot of the things my father did with us sometimes didn't come out of love. I think it was more out of like, this job is kicking my ass. I've been working all day. Now I got to come home. And how do you take your aggression out?
Right.
So I think we have more opportunities to learn, if we had our fathers in our lives. We have a better chance to learn and grow and to fix the things that our parents or dads did and didn't do. And it allows us to get more opportunity to work with our children. So I just feel like I think it's more of an advantage nowadays than it was back then. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of father figures. There's more of us out here doing great things. So I think we have a better advantage more than anything.
It's difficult for me to answer because the dynamic is different as far as socially. I think back in the day, you had so much going on as far as how society worked with racism and civil rights. You know what I mean? And so you raised your child in a totally different manner than you would now. Nowadays, you don't really have as many stresses as you did back then. So,
you think they had it easier? You think it was easier for them?
It's difficult to say because every era has its challenges. But when I think back in the day, I'm thinking 50s, 60s.
You know what simplicity.
I mean? I'm thinking, but not necessarily simplicity, because I think those time periods was simple for white America, right. But it was very, very complex for us. It was very difficult for us to fit into the norms. It was difficult for us. When everybody else is 2 cars, you know what I mean? Just right. When everybody else is living the American dream in the 50s, 60s, we were really at the opposite. We were on the opposite end of the spectrum. And so I think that we've always had those struggles as black people, but I can't say that it was easier back in the day because there was different perils that we had versus nowadays. And nowadays you have the internet, you have so many things to help you parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Back in the days you had to really know how to cook. You couldn't just Google a recipe.
Right.
You had to know something or have a recipe
cookbook.
Right. A cookbook. Yeah.
What?
Like, man, where are those at?
Are you lucky if grandma gave you the recipe because they
right.
hold them, they don't write nothing down, they don't measure.
I honestly think that times are easier as far as how to raise a child, but still the act of raising a child is difficult because now the child has the internet. And so instead of sitting down and talking to my father about sex, now I can just Google sex. Now I can just Google how to get girls. You know what I mean?
And it's so much easier, it feels like. The challenges, like you said, socially is more internet bullying. You know what I mean? Like, you don't deal with bullies the same way you do now. Now you
didn't even deal with bullies back in the day. Back in the days,
you fought.
Dealing with a bully meant you either fought or you got beat up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nowadays, bullying is something totally different. Now it's more intimidation. It's more non-physical. It's more mental.
And when you bring up bullying, like I've said this once before, like on FFR a couple of years ago, like bullying was either at your school or in your neighborhood, and that's as far as it went. You can go into another state, you can go to another city, you can be cool in another wherever. But now, if you're bullied, that reputation can be on the internet and it can be anywhere. If you go viral, it's over.
There was the story, and I can't remember the specific details, but it was a story where there was a gay brother in college, and he had did something in his room with another man, and his roommate recorded it on his desktop computer, recorded it without his knowing, and shared it with the whole school. And the brother was so devastated because he wasn't out of the closet. he was so devastated that he took his life. And imagine how overwhelming it is to know that the world knows. The world knows.
Not just the
what happened
neighborhood.
to you. Not just the people you know.
Not just your dorm.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Nowadays,
The
if
whole
you get
internet.
beat up in school, it don't just go around the school and surround the school. It goes on World Star. Now the whole country knows that you
Yeah.
can't fight and you can't handle yours.
That's
How do you
crazy.
parent that? We don't even have the training of how to parent social media bullying
Word.
because we were in the media. I mean, as we grew up, we were just in neighborhoods.
Right.
We were just around the block.
Internet is fairly new.
Yeah,
To us.
we had no training for that, for real.
Dude, it's scary, man.
And that's I think one of the disadvantages of being a father is that we do have the internet. Of course, we have a lot of free education on there, but there's a lot. But I think that what you were getting at was very good. I think that, in a sense, what I took from what you were saying about the 50s and 60s, I think fathers were more just trying to be a man first. They wanted to be seen as a human. You know, being a father is an extra level of manhood. Like, you can't even be a man in the 50s and 60s, let alone be seen as a father, because you're just trying to be a provider. You're trying to be a whole human.
Right.
You're just trying to be able to vote. You're trying to make it to work. You're trying to get a job.
Right.
I think about James Evans all the time.
All
and
the
that,
time.
and that. Think about the pressures that he had. By the time James Evans got home, you think I'm finna help you with your homework?
You think he has enough emotions
Man,
to
you
talk?
think I want to hear about your insecurities? I
I
got
had
the
a
man
terrible,
breathing
right.
down my neck.
Yeah.
All day, telling
Man.
me how hard I need to work, what I need to do, telling me what to do all day long. And then you got to come home, put food on the table,
deal with real
issues, yeah, family issues.
That's a good perspective that I don't think that we even think about. I posed this question in our Facebook group. Make sure, fellas, that you join our Facebook group just so you can be a part of the conversation before it starts. And actually, one of our people talked about this. Shout out to Aaron of the Black Astronauts podcast. He says that our fathers weren't as aware of their emotions. As long as they brought home the money, they weren't responsible for the emotional labor. So that kind of goes along with what we just said, because that emotional labor was heavier than just
So heavy.
like I don't know. I feel that sometimes we are a little bit more emotionally involved because we have that ability to. We have that freedom to be involved emotionally because we have seen our fathers and our grandfathers go through just trying to be a human. At least we know that we have a vote.
Right.
We
We
have
got
the
rights.
right to live for the most part.
We have rights, period.
Exactly.
Way
And-
more rights than we did in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like
and
you said.
that's going to affect you as a father. First as a man, and then if you feel like you can be a man, then you can be a good father.
Right. Well said.
And I never thought about that until we just had this conversation right now, because that is crazy, because they have so much to have to do with. But I think it's a big disadvantage that we don't often think about. So what are some of the advantages we brought up were the examples that we got?
Right.
What advantages do you think that they had over us? Can y'all think of any? I have one in mind that I'll at least will
Let's
say.
say, yeah, if you started off.
I brought it up when I was getting my hair cut. How back in the day, we could be out all day as kids and not have to worry about predators or harm or danger. And our parents were cool with that too. Our parents could know that we just, as long as they said by the streetlights, we'll be back home. We don't have that advantage now to let our kids be out and about in any situation
Right.
further than our eyesight, especially if you don't have other family or like-minded people in that neighborhood to watch over your kids too. We don't have that.
Me and my wife talk about it, man. My son is 11 years old, and he's at the age where he wants to hop on his bike and ride. He wants to
Like
go
we
pick
used
his
to.
friends
Yeah,
up.
yep,
Man,
exactly
when I
what
was
we do.
11, that's all I was about, was riding my bike through the neighborhood.
Dude.
I had a bike and I had water guns. And so my son is at that age where he has his own freedom. And so he wants to go, he wants to ride. I'll be back later. Can I come back in an hour? Can I come back when it gets dark?
That's scary.
And I'm all for it. Yeah, go ahead, man. Ride around. See what you can find. Show me something. But my wife, as careful as she is like, I don't feel comfortable with you going off the street because I don't know anybody over there. I don't know where you're going.
Right.
And it's too many crazy people out
Yeah.
here. And maybe there was crazy people in the 80s when I was growing up.
Right.
But because of the internet, I didn't know about it.
Right.
I didn't know that there was a predator living 2 doors down. I didn't know all of these things. And I feel like that knowledge that the internet brings in is kind of what's crippling us at the same time helping us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because now my wife knows and she can see what happened in Chicago. She can see what happened in Cleveland. And she can see what happened in St. Louis.
So you can see what happened around the corner.
You know?
Literally.
And so it definitely ain't going to happen to my son. Whereas in the 80s, when I was coming up, the 80s, 90s, it was like, man, just ride your bike, come home, make sure you get some water.
Yep.
Go to the neighbor's house if I ain't home.
Don't
But
go
now-
around that crazy person, that one crazy person
And
that
we
every
all-
neighborhood got. You just go around on the other side and avoid that one
Word.
person.
But nowadays, it's like that crazy person has a face, a name, a past, a background, and we know everything about that crazy person. You know what I mean? And it's like we have too much knowledge, and it's almost that's what's keeping us dumb.
Fighting,
You know what I mean?
That's when the less is more comes into play. Almost.
For real.
Like too much knowledge sometimes when it comes to knowing everything about everybody is not good.
Can cripple you.
Yeah, it can cripple you. Like you can't let your child grow because you're holding them back from so much. You know what I mean? Like you said, we was growing up, man. Weeks ago, we found the BMX bike path that some dude either created or somebody had randomly by the creek that we found out. We used to play basketball, football all day. 12 o'clock, check in for lunch. Get some water, come to the house, and then before the street lights come out.
By the creek.
Dog.
Everybody played by the creek.
It's
but
like
nowadays,
it's like you describing my life.
If you didn't have a creek, you
bro,
missing
you
out,
crazy.
bro.
Ain't no kids nowadays playing by the creek.
No, they scared to go in the water. They
By
don't
the
go
creek?
outside nowadays.
Man, please. Ain't nobody's parents letting their kids go to the creek 2018. Too much mess going on.
Too much mess. Somebody going.
But back in the days, that was if you weren't going in the creek, you was a punk. You scared.
Dog.
You know?
I never forget my boy Eric Anderson, man, broke his collarbone by the creek riding the bikes. He had the cold BMX bike. He was the only one that had front and back pegs.
Bro, I found a turtle in the creek. I lived in Fort Benning, Georgia. We was in the creek walking around with our feet in the water and found a turtle. Took it home and tried to make some. Remember, Ninja Turtles had the mutagen.
Yep.
And you,
Yep.
we tried to mix some mutagen. We put like toothpaste and everything we could find that was liquid. Try to make some
Mud,
mutagen.
all
for
that,
the
mix it
turtle.
up.
I would like to find like tadpoles and crawdads.
All of that.
But I wouldn't get too deep into it. I forget what the movie was. I think it was like one of the movies back in the day where they went into the creek and they had like all these leeches on their stomach.
It wasn't the Goonies. It was
something
Stand
like
By
that.
Me.
Yeah, Stand By Me.
Oh my God.
That kind of frightened me. I never had no leeches all on my body. I remember that happening, but we had that freedom to do that, skipping rocks over the water, going to the store or the candy lady.
Oh, the
And
corner stores, man.
Like, those were part of the gyms of every neighborhood that we had the advantage to do. And now these days, I think it could be a lot of things that's going on that have stopped that. And one thing I actually thought about, and I'm not downplaying our families or our people, but I think that like we don't have the same grandparents that we used to have back in the day. Like
No, hell no.
grandparents these days, not to down our mothers or our fathers, grandparents don't want to be grandpa or grandma. They want to be Gigi, Mimi.
Gigi, Papa.
Grandma gotta have a life too.
T-Ma.
Dude, they still kicking it. There's grandmas out here that are 30-something years old.
Yeah,
Like, that's crazy.
And the thing is that when we had our grandparents in elementary or middle school, there was retirement age, and then they had already had houses, and they knew everybody in their community. So they knew that I was Elmore O'Neill's grandson. So if they see me acting up, they're gonna tell my grandpa.
Yep.
So I know I was cool because they were gonna. The neighbors knew me.
Right.
There was a community.
The community knew you.
Community.
That's so and so and them son.
Right.
And then they could punish me if they needed to because that would correct me. We don't have that.
We don't even want people to touch our kids
don't want
in an appropriate way. It was like, if somebody hit Braxton, my wife's gonna go off.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have that. Hey, listen, your son was acting up, popped him on his butt, sent
Right.
him home. Hey, you shouldn't have acted up. You gonna get it when you get home too.
Right.
That we had that. You
Right.
got your ass whooped at somebody's house, and then when you got home, you got it too.
We don't want nobody to say
We don't
nothing
want to
to
say
our
nothing to our
kids.
kids. Everybody's so defensive.
Time is different.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man.
So that's one of those things where I think we do have a disadvantage on a lot of things because it could seem like it was easy because they could just let us out like we was puppies and dogs, and then we can just come back later. But
dude, that's what made our childhood so incredible, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, help us to grow, to learn, to explore physically. Get out there, get your hands dirty, and do stuff. Let kids be kids, man. Kids gotta be kids.
So check it out. How can we bring that back? How can we bring that element to where your child can be raised by the community and not just by your household.
You move into a community
Yep.
that everybody else is moving into, that you know everybody, like King Lincoln
So
District.
we'll really have to agree, like as a people,
Yes.
We
this
need
is
to
where
move
we're
to
gonna
this
live,
area.
and
Yeah.
this is how we're gonna live.
We're going to go to this. We're going to be around the same schools, same people, same churches, whatever, block parties, whatever we're going to do. Let's all have a community where we can look out for each other. Because if I know I see your son and your daughter, because me and you are real cool, and I see them out being incorrect, I can correct them in a correct way.
Right.
Because I know you, and I know that if I see them out, you wouldn't want them to act like that. But hey, y'all want to? Your
Right.
dad gonna whoop your ass for out here
Yeah.
being like that.
Because I'm looking at, I'm trying to tie it all together. The brothers that's sitting there on the subway that's not giving their seat up to the woman, it's because they don't know the woman. If they knew that lady,
Yeah,
Oh,
they
it
would
is.
give their seat up. But
Completely
because
different.
they don't know her, she don't know me, I don't know her. I've been working 12 hours.
We don't
she
know
could've
each
been working
other.
13. But because you don't know her, because she's really, even though they may be riding the same train to the same neighborhood, they're not the same community.
yeah.
And so you would never give your seat up to somebody that you don't know. You would never discipline somebody's child that you don't know. You know what I mean? And so I think that all of those barriers that the internet has put up, making us think that we good by ourselves,
It's
we
wrong.
need each other.
We need each other. We do.
You know?
And we are so quick to move out of the community. We're so quick to move from the neighborhood.
Word.
We're so quick to want to be in the suburbs and be well off, whatever that may be, that sometimes we may need to find a way to, even if it's in the suburbs, and we can have a community within that. We need to be able to commune with each other to make our kids have a better life.
Man,
because
yeah.
if it's nothing but white people around your kids, they're going to have that culture.
That's exactly what we're going through right now with Braxton. We're in Blacklick in a nice community right now. It's more like old retirees and some people that just first homes, they want to get a nice house and then maybe move on to another one.
Right.
We're in Blacklick. In school is one other black kid, his whole class, everybody else is white or Indian, something like that. That's what he's missing. That's why I feel like sometimes his personality is stuff that he sees at school.
Of course.
So the whining and the stuff like that is where it's hard because we had those conversations of stop being soft, stop being a crybaby, but at the same time this is what he sees, this is what they pay attention to. That's why we want to get back to DC, even though DC has been gentrified, completely different. Everywhere it is, but it's still a community out there of black people and culture that we need that in Columbus so bad that Daryl is working on, O Sharp is working on, Marshall is working on trying to build these communities to have events for our people.
Yeah.
We need more of that. We need more support, and we need that. That's why DC is where we want to be because we still got that vibe, that love, and that culture out there.
That's why I salute the King Arts group because they are really instilling culture in inner city Columbus. They're really doing it. All of the events that they have.
Maroon Arts Group.
What did I say?
King Arts. King's Art Complex.
It's
Maroon Arts Group. But
the Maroon Arts Group. The
Both
Maroon
y'all
Arts
shout
Group is really instilling culture in Columbus. And they're doing it properly. Whether it's spoken word, dance, art, whether it's food, whether it's the culinary art, any aspect, it's like the Maroon Arts Group has it covered. And then it's geared towards family.
Yeah.
You know
because
what I mean?
we need this community, and we see more than anything, we need to know who we need to vote for, what communities we need to be sitting in,
Exactly.
what we need to be eating, who our kids need to be around as mentors and models.
Word.
Like we need to know
need that,
all of
man.
that,
Damn.
and that's something that we've been programmed to be so separate and be on our own. Like I got it. No, we need to be like we got it.
We got it together.
We got this, and that's a whole part of having a fatherhood fraternity.
Yep.
That's a whole part of having our brothers to be chilling in the barbershop. All this is necessary.
Start with us.
We got to start it, man. It's
And-
going to take some time to get back, but if we continue on the path that we're continuing on, it can happen. It can happen.
I mean, it really is happening. Like the Maroon Arts Group is up and running, full speed.
Yeah.
It's just brothers need to start attaching themselves.
Yep.
All of this fatherhood fraternity, man, brothers need to grab hold
Yep.
and bring your family up with you.
We got to be unprogrammed because we just
Right.
have been so, I got it. Oh, now they doing that. I ain't trying to seem like I'm jocking off them, or I ain't trying to seem like I'm biting whatever they doing. Now they got that over there. I'm going to do mine over here.
Right.
And we have our little separate sectors when we can be so much stronger as a fist than just as an open hand. And I just think that if we consciously think of these things, maybe we can be a little bit better. Because I'm just so used to doing everything on my own that when I get into the city, I gotta consciously visit and be in where people are, so I don't have to be by myself all the time.
What are we missing? Like, what are we missing right now to where we don't have that type of communication, that type of love, that type of...
We don't have the examples. That's what we're missing. So we are now the examples of a different lifestyle. We don't have that ahead of us.
I would say the common knowledge. Like, everybody knows a little bit about something, but we all don't know the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, like, one guy may know politics, the other guy may know the streets, the other guy may know education, the other guy may be, finances, but we all need to put all of that into the pot. You know what I'm saying? Because all of that goes into the community. It's not just a right way to do it. It's not a right way to parent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Imagine us, 8 or 9 of us in a cul-de-sac, and we own the whole cul-de-sac.
Oh, wow.
And then you arriving home, and then you see all your people like, what up? You know what I'm saying? You open the door, you say what up to everybody. That's your people. Like, can you feel the love of just even imagine that? Like,
I'm thinking about it right now.
You pulling up, you're like, oh, what y'all eating tonight? Come on, let's. We got a dish. I got some extra chicken.
Yeah.
Let's come through. Like, just come over here.
It'll turn into a potluck every day.
And then your kids are going to see that, and then your kids will grow together and be in community together, and then whoever's above will teach you what's coming up ahead. So if I got a kid that's a year older than yours, then if I'm going through these financial aid issues, I know what to help you
but
with.
That's what we had that we don't have no more.
Yes.
Now you got back in the day, you had the old man at the end of the cul-de-sac. He got the garden,
right?
So he teaching, and everybody's getting fresh ingredients from him. You got this guy, he's the fixer, he's the handyman, so he's fixing everything.
Send your kids down there to learn from him.
Now we don't have that. Everybody's individual. Everybody got it by themselves.
I would love to have a community. I know we need to own land. I would love, like, in my wildest dreams would be like to be able to have a cul-de-sac of just people, like pockets all over the city where it's like, yo, we can just block this off this weekend. I got some music.
We already know we having a party. Everybody cool with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think it's just too, we got to stop being prejudiced against our own people too. Like, I think it's a lot of, all right, these are my black people, these are my niggas. Like, damn. You know what I mean? But it happens like that though, which kind of, it's like, damn, I love my black people. I can't stand niggas. But somehow, some way, we have to get away from that mindset of just...
Let's separate.
Yeah.
Let today be the day, for real, man. For real, let's offer solutions. I think that's the difference. Don't none of us like niggas.
Yeah.
And niggas ain't just black people.
No.
Niggas is just a type of person. We all know.
Right.
We don't want to define a nigga today.
Right. And we know enough people that we don't even have to worry about them. Like, say, there's enough of us where the niggas... colorless niggas, like just people who are ignorant.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about them, and we can have our own community and build and upbring all of that with our smarts, our education.
The first show we talked about it and we kind of touched on it, but after a while, once you get to a certain level of maturity, you start shedding some of that old way.
Yeah.
Some of those friends that you don't really even let them go.
Right.
Now you got a new circle of friends. Now you have a new community.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Our 30s are lit because of that, because we see a lot better than what we did before.
Yep.
Like, we was clouded by judgment with liquor and kicking in and
insecurities,
yes,
all of those things.
Emotionless.
Now that we got families, wives, it's time to start acting like it, man. Yeah. Now we have to take our community over.
Yep. And that I'm not even going to go too much further, because that is where I think that it's important for us to stop at. Yep. Because I don't want this point to get lost. And I think it's something that I want to continue to think about and continue to bring up. Like, yo, how are you building your community? How are we not just donating stuff? Like, how are we going to build this community where
make your neighborhood great again?
Even in where you at right now, your neighborhood right now, if you see a black person or a black family, get to know them. Hey, what's going on? I met this older black man. He stayed 2 doors down, 3 doors down away from me, man. He was out barbecuing one day, and they probably been there for a while. They look retired, but I always wave to him, say what's up. But one day I was just out there, and he was outside playing his old schools, his oldies, listening to his music. I went down and talked to him, man, and he was like, "Hey, Norm," he said, "anytime you want to come down, I got the grill out. Hey, come down and eat, man. You and your family."
That's good.
Like, and he, and he could be somebody that, hey, I'll watch his son while y'all, go out. And that's not to use them, but it's more
Right.
like, let's get to know people. Like, we don't have anybody watch Braxton. You know what I mean? Everybody that we know is always doing something out, kicking it or
Right.
whatever the case may be. Like, we got to drive an hour away just to meet halfway, my mother-in-law, just to get somebody to watch Braxton. If we had a community,
Yeah.
we might have somebody that can watch them.
Yep.
We can go out and
Next,
have it.
man, if we had a community, we have a daycare.
We have a daycare.
Exactly.
Us, our daycare.
Yes.
Man,
That's-
let's get to it.
That's where we gotta stop.
We need to get some red hats that say "Make the hood great again."
Fuck them red
I don't want no
hats.
red hats, man.
Maybe some red hats.
some black
No,
hats,
we just
man.
need to
Make the hood great
get a
again.
t-shirt,
Black
man.
hats.
Just put a t-shirt because
Black
I
hats.
side eye every red hat I see now. I don't
real.
care. If it got some words on it and it's red, I'm good. I'm good.
Kanye
Exactly.
me, man.
But yo, fellas, ladies, because I know a lot of women listen to our show, and I appreciate you all. Please, let's build this community. Let's find a way where we can make this better for our children, because we see how necessary it is to have our culture and to have our community,
Real.
and we need both of those.
Let's make the hood great again.
Make the hood great again. Black hats only, though.
All right, so we're gonna have like a final word, and I'll just say what my final piece would be, just to close out. Once again, big shout out to all my fathers, man. It feels good to be able to talk to you all, and
Every time we get together, it's like a
this is a real community
yeah.
building thing, and I appreciate you all, and I want you all to go home and think about something that is a little bit bigger than yourself. Think about your legacy, and people who are listening, please think about your legacy. Quick shout outs to Jordan Wood, who talked about the advantages and disadvantages. Devin Robinson, and once again Aaron. Shout out to you all for commenting on the post. Norm, what is your final thoughts for today?
shout out to Take Control Podcast. I was invited to speak yesterday on the Take Control Podcast. That one's coming out soon. I was able to talk about marriage and just relationships. So I appreciate y'all for having me. It was a great show. I think everybody's going to love it. So look
That's
out.
our sister show, so
Sister show.
we
yeah.
rock with them.
We rock with them heavy. So y'all listen up to them. Take Control Podcast. But I appreciate y'all having me on that show, and look forward to what we cooked up.
My final thought is, it's about health, man. I want to encourage all brothers to put your pride aside, man. And if you are sick, if you're hurting, get checked. Look at yourself, man. Have someone look at you. Go see a professional, man. Don't be too proud. Pride always comes before the fall, man. Don't be too proud to
Amen.
be healthy. Get yourself looked at, man. If your eyes is bad, diabetic, it's so many things that run through our community. Cancer, get checked out. Don't do it by yourself.
Heart disease, all that.
It's killing us. We can't have a community if we're getting killed, if we kill ourselves. So, fellas, thank y'all for your time. Let's get back to our families and our wives and our kids. Give them some kisses and love. But we're about to here. Until next time, y'all. We holla at y'all.
All right, peace.